Hello everyone, welcome back to the Movie Reviewers 100. My name is Scott, also known as Cineram. I do the Thursday review videos here for our theme weeks, and I'm wrapping up this week's theme of Edward Norton with The Painted Veil. This theme was actually requested by Puck Bond 007's mother. She watches the channel and she says, "I love Edward Norton. Could you please do Edward Norton?" And so we are. I bribed a few government officials and hacked a few computers and found out that EJ's mom's favorite Edward Norton movie is The Painted Veil. So I reviewed that. I had already seen it once before, but I wanted to see it again primarily because of the score. I'll get into that in a second. First of all, I wanted to mention that this movie is based on a novel by W. Somerset Maugham. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I have all my notes right here, so don't forget anything. I checked IMDb. He had a very prolific presence on the screen. A lot of his novels and short stories and plays have been adapted into TV movies and motion pictures. Aside from this movie, he's probably best known for The Razor's Edge, which starred Bill Murray, Up at the Villa, which starred Sean Penn and Kristen Scott Thomas, and Being Julia, which is based on a book called The Theater, I think, that starred Annette Bening and Michael Gambon. Up at the Villa, The Painted Veil, stars Edward Norton and Naomi Watts, and was directed by John Curran, who worked with both of them on other occasions. He had already worked with Naomi Watts on We Don't Live Here Anymore, which starred Mark Ruffalo and Laura Dern. And then he went on to do a movie after The Painted Veil called Stone, with Milla Jovovich and Robert De Niro, and Edward Norton was in that as well. So this is like the film he made in between those two. This is Edward Norton plays a doctor, and this takes place in the 1920s. It starts off in 1923 with Edward Norton meeting Naomi Watts and asking to marry her, despite the fact that they've only known each other for a couple days. It's the kind of uppity society where daughters are expected to find a husband early on because their families won't support them forever. And Naomi Watts really is a bit frustrated by the fact that she is expected to marry someone when she just isn't inspired by any particular man that she meets. Edward Norton is a doctor, and he's going to be traveling to China, living in Shanghai. After a couple days of deliberation, Naomi Watts says, "Fine, I guess I better marry him because that's it doesn't seem like I have very many options." But she doesn't really love him or anything like that. She gets along with him, but she's not passionate about him or anything like that. But she travels with him to Shanghai and seems relatively happy there until she meets Liev Schreiber. Now, for those of you who are up on actors' personal lives, Liev Schreiber and Naomi Watts met on the set and they became a couple. They might still be together. I haven't checked up on that, but they have been a couple. She has an affair with Liev Schreiber in the film, in the story of the film. And when Edward Norton finds out, he says, "Well, I tell you what, there's this cholera outbreak in this tiny little village out in the rural area of China, and I'm going to go there and take care of them because they need help taking care of the sick people. So how about coming along with me?" And Naomi Watts is like, "What? No way, I'm not going to go out there." And he says, "Okay, fine, I'm divorcing you." And she's like, "Huh?" He says, "I'm divorcing you. You're having an affair with Liev Schreiber, I'm going to divorce you." He's just like, "Well, okay, let me go talk to Liev Schreiber and see if he'll marry me if you divorce me." So she goes, talks to him, and he's just like, "Oh, I can't leave my wife." And she's just like, "Great, now I don't know what to do. I have to go with my husband to this rural area where there's a cholera outbreak because if he divorces me, I'll be disgraced, and I can't have that. My reputation's important to me." So she travels all the way to this tiny little village where they stay in this ratty little house. And he goes off to where the epidemic is taking place, and he's taking care of all the sick people. And she doesn't have anything to do. There's a funny moment when they arrive at the house. They're greeted by an Englishman who's worked there for a while at the village, who's played by Toby Jones. And he says, "How long did it take you to get here from Shanghai?" And they're like, 10 days. Like, "What do you do, swim here?" And Edward Norton goes, "Oh, no, we traveled part of the way by boat, and then we took the scenic route. We traveled by land part of the way, the rest of the way. We wanted to get a bit of the countryside, didn't we, honey?" and she's sitting there, and I expected to see this furious look on his face. It's like, what? We could have gone the whole way here by boat. It would have taken us only a couple days. It took us 10 because we had to walk. Man. She's clearly not happy here. And of course she has nothing to do. She hangs around the house all day long. You know, there's no city life or anything like that. No nightclubs to go to. No one else to socialize with except for Toby Jones. And her husband is off at the site where all the sick people are, taking care of cholera and hoping to death that he doesn't catch it as well. There's a really juicy scene early on in the picture where Edward Norton first shows up and looks over all the patients, and man, it is a nasty business, this cholera thing. Guys moaning in pain, and you know, water just pouring out of their orifices, soaking right through the mattress onto the floor. It's nasty business, this cholera. I'm glad that I don't have it. So as he's working, and he's doing everything he can to help these people, and trying to figure out where the epidemic is coming from, and figuring out it's from the water supply, and closing off the well, and asking people not to bury their dead so close to the river, despite their traditions, because you know there's contaminants and everything like that. It's just affecting everything. It's going to make more people sick, and people don't like the fact that he's doing this. They don't understand that he's you know, trying to save them and trying to save their kids from getting sick. They feel like he's angering their gods or their tradition or what have you, and so there's a bit of unrest there. Meanwhile, Naomi Watts is like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I've been here like a whole month, and there's nothing to do but hang around the house all day doing nothing. So I'll volunteer at the orphanage. She goes and talks to the nuns, who conveniently enough are white and speak English, about taking care of the orphans and helping teach and everything like that. So she's making herself useful. And over a period of time, she begins to respect what her husband is doing. And he begins to respect the fact that she is, you know, greatly uncomfortable in the whole environment, but is doing what she can to help out. And wouldn't you know it, they start to have feelings for her finally. They have feelings for each other finally for the first time. So it's a story of them getting married because it's necessary for both of them in one way or another, and then becoming angry and not really speaking to each other and being on very bad terms, but then slowly warming up to each other and actually becoming fond of each other after months of living together as husband and wife. Now I mentioned the music, which is composed by Alexandre Desplat. I believe that's how you pronounce his name, or Desplat. He's a French individual who has composed music for a lot of films, including The Girl with the Pearl Earring, Birth, Syriana, The Queen, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, The Tree of Life, Argo, Zero Dark 30, not to mention the last two Harry Potter movies, and Twilight New Moon. So yeah, he's quite good. Like I said, I wanted to see this film again anyway because of the score. There was one piece of the film that I actually just, you know, closed my eyes. I wasn't even watching the screen. I would just play this one bit over and over so I could listen to the music. And this is it right here.
Would you like a ride home?
On what? The buffalo?
Now there's two recurring themes throughout the movie, but that is the one that I'm most fond of, you know, that piano piece right there. And I haven't really kept up on Alexandre Desplat, Desplat's scores. You know, I haven't like paid close attention to the ones that he does as opposed to Hans Zimmer, Alan Silvestri, or Carter Burwell, those guys. But I think I'll pay more attention to you know, him when his credit comes up and go, oh, it's another score by this guy. The next movie he's going to be doing is the next George Clooney directed film called The Monuments Men. He also appears in this movie as an actor. I'm not really sure how exactly, but I've seen a photo of him basically hanging out with Matt Damon on the set. Apparently they're both playing characters in the film, so that'll be interesting. And the music, of course, will, I'm sure, be quite good as well. So I wanted to thank Puck Bond's mom for suggesting we do Edward Norton. He's a terrific actor. I first saw him, as many people did, in Primal Fear. I was just blown away by him. That movie has a way better twist than Sixth Sense. Just love the twist in that movie, and he's terrific in it. And then he went from there to, from playing kind of this meek kid to playing, you know, this really, really smart attorney in The People versus Larry Flint. And from then on, he's gone to do a whole bunch of stuff. We've had a number of really good reviews already. Let me just look them up real quick. Al did American History X, which came out in '98. That was Norton's first Oscar for Best Actor, which is a fantastic movie. Let's see, Fight Club, rated Fight Club. That's a fun one. David Fincher, of course, I like that. I believe Ian did the score, which he's co-starred with Robert De Niro. This is the first of the two movies he was in with Robert De Niro in. And Ray did The Incredible Hulk, which of course was the Marvel movie that came out in 2008 alongside Iron Man, the first Iron Man film. He only was in the one Hulk movie. But EJ, of course, did The Italian Job on Saturday, which is one of the movies where he plays the bad guy. Actually, he's sort of a bad guy in the score as well, but he's more overt of a bad guy in The Italian Job. And he's fine in that movie, but if you see that movie at all, the reason to see The Italian Job is because of Seth Green. He's outrageously funny in it. So, here's my review of The Painted Veil. Hi, EJ's mom. I hope you like my review, and I hope you like all the other reviews. Thanks again for the suggestion. Stay tuned, of course, tomorrow, where Al will start off the week with a brand new theme. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Take it easy.